Hey guys, PepperAmmy here. In this bonus Souptember episode, I'm going to show you how to make a simple, crunchy loaf of bread for soups, and then how to turn that loaf into fresh, crispy croutons. For the bread, all you need is 500 grams of white flour, 300 ml of warm water, 7 grams of dry yeast, and 2 teaspoons of salt. Now, if you are sure your yeast is alive and active, you don't need to worry about blooming it. But if you're unsure, mix the yeast with the warm water and wait for it to become foamy. This will show you your yeast is still active and alive. Now, if you're not blooming your yeast, add the flour to a large bowl with the salt on one side, yeast on the other, and then add in the water and mix until it forms a shaggy dough. Then simply tip it out onto a clean work surface and knead until you can form it into a smooth ball that bounces back when poked. This should take anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes depending on your flour and the gluten in your flour. Then form your dough into a nice round ball and place in an oiled bowl and let rise until doubled in size. Then knock back your dough. And now you get to choose how you want to shape your dough. Now I'm cooking mine in a Dutch oven, so I'm shaping mine in a bread banneton. But if you wish to make a traditional loaf, you can simply place your loaf in a bread pan and let it rise in there, or you can simply shape it and place it on a baking tray and let it rise covered with a damp tea towel. Now the second rise should take a lot less time, as now the yeast is nice and active, so just leave it for around 20 to 30 minutes. In this time, you can preheat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius or 390 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you are going to be cooking your bread in a Dutch oven, place that in the oven too to get that nice and hot. Once the oven is up to temperature and your dough has risen, if you are cooking in a loaf pan, simply place that in the oven. If you're baking a unformed loaf on a baking tray, simply remove the cloth and carefully place the loaf in the oven. Now, if you're using a Dutch oven, remove it from the oven, remove the lid, and carefully place the dough in. Now, if you're using a banneton like I am, just simply flip the bread into the Dutch oven. You should be met with a nice sizzle of the dough on the hot cast iron. And then replace the lid back on the Dutch oven and cook for 25 to 30 minutes. Now, if you are once again using a Dutch oven, remove the lid after the first 15 minutes or so and cook for the remaining time without the lid. This will help the top get nice and crispy. Now, as an addition, before placing your bread in the oven, you can of course score the top as well. This will help the bread rise or expand in the oven in a uniform manner. Once cooked, the bread should sound hollow like a football when you tap it. And then, once it is cooked, set it to one side and cool. Now, don't be tempted to cut into this bread while it's still hot, otherwise it is going to ruin the crumb of the loaf. And now onto your croutons.
Crouton, crunchy friends in a liquid broth.
All you will need for this is your bread, optionally salt, pepper, and you are going to need some olive oil. Optionally flavoured, I'm using a mixture of basil and some chili flavoured oil. Then preheat your oven once again to 190 degrees Celsius or 375 Fahrenheit and start by slicing your bread. I'm using around half the loaf, and then slice the bread into roughly 1-inch squares. Now, you can go smaller, you can go larger, the choice is up to you, it's just going to vary on your cooking time. Then place your sliced bread in a bowl and drizzle over some oil, optionally some salt and pepper or any other flavourings you wish to add. And then toss the bread to coat. Then spread your bread out on a baking tray or suitable oven-proof dish and bake for 15 to 20 minutes, turning halfway through. Now, depending on the thickness of your croutons, they may take longer or they could take a little bit less. You're just going to have to check every now and then. And you should be left with a nice dry crunchy finish, kind of drier than toast, but not as burnt as really dry burnt toast. And then simply remove from the oven. You can enjoy these warm, or you can let them cool and serve with your favourite soup or salad, and then just enjoy. Now, homemade croutons are super easy to make and a great use for any leftover bread, or even if you just want to make a loaf of bread just to make croutons. They are a great addition to your favourite soup this Souptember. Now, as always, if you like what you saw, let me know down below. If you are new here, feel free to subscribe for weekly cooking content. We still have at least 2 great soups left this Souptember, and then we have plenty of content coming in the future. Now, I hope to see you all again in the next video, and thanks for watching.